Hello, and welcome to Men. These are rookie mistakes you're making in dating that are completely sabotaging your chances in finding the one. Now, Claudia and I, this is a topic we've thought about a lot because we have a lot of experience with this, don't we? Can you
We
tell
have
them
like
what?
a special window
Yeah,
into this
yeah.
because we work with women.
We work with women all the time, so we see where the fails happen. And ladies will be really into a guy. They've messaged well, they've set up the date, and then the date just goes afoul. And it's usually these simple things that men blow time and time again,
It's
right?
like these little things that if they just made these like micro adjustments and had a little bit more what we might call courtly game,
Yeah.
then they could go all the way. Like they could cross the finish line.
Yeah, and I think it changes your, like, you go from being a 5 or 6 or 7 to a 9 or 10 on the scale by just doing these basic things. And we're not going to criticize, we might laugh at, but we want everyone to get these. And when we sat down, we came up with a bunch because we see it weekly
Yeah.
with things. So the number one, and we both had number one come up. It's so serious, and you might not think it is, but it is. And what is it, Claudia?
Asking to go to Dutch.
Asking to go Dutch. Okay, now why is this such a faux pas?
It's just such a turn off for a woman. Like, and you can have the most amazing, like you were saying, like you can have the most amazing interaction, the most amazing time. You can have great connection. You can even have good chemistry, right? And then when you get to the end of the date, it's just like the momentum. You feel like the momentum's going this really good direction. It's almost like crescendoing, right? And then it's like this energy of wah, like it's just a total turn off for a woman to feel that in her body, that sinking feeling of like, oh, he wants to go 50-50. He doesn't value me enough to actually want to pay for me for a date.
Right, but it's the modern times. Shouldn't it go 50-50?
Well, that's the problem. I feel like there's so much confusion, right, that has been caused a lot by feminism or postmodern feminism and trying to make everything equal, sort of leveling out the playing field. And we get like why men often think that this is a good idea, right? You may think that this is what a woman wants. You believe in equality. You believe in everyone should pay the same because everyone equal wages or whatever, and yet it really kills the chemistry, it kills the vibe, and it's just like it's a complete buzzkill.
Yeah, and we get ladies lasting partnership through courtship, men through chivalry. It's got polarity in it, but chivalry takes it all the way to lasting love. We teach like kingdom marriage, finding the one, soulmate love, and the women are just going to trust you, men, if you treat, if you spoil. That's like chivalry code one is, open doors and pay for dates. And you can
Yeah.
always find affordable dates. People overinvest too early anyways,
Yes.
usually like a coffee, a tea, a smoothie. And if you can't afford that, as I say, maybe
Probably
should be dating at that point.
Yeah.
So, do it in a timeline that works for you and on budget and make it magical.
But showing her that you have at least the desire, the willingness, and the capability to provide, it helps her relax, it helps her soften, it helps her open and be like, oh wow, this he's got me, right? That's what women are looking for. They're looking for that feeling of like, I'm safe here. He's got me. I can relax. He's covering me, right? And that is such a turn on for a woman. And I think men don't realize how much of a buzzkill it is when you ask to go 50-50, even if you're trying to be politically correct and with the times and not step on anyone's toes with traditional gender roles.
But yeah, but you're not going dating like that. When you date with us, you go out like a knight. You have a lance. You're not stabbing it all the time like the polarity guys. You make your moves. Yeah. And saying I got it, it just sets her whole nervous system right. That's it. And we've never had a woman come from a date that went Dutch and said that went great.
Never.
It is such a red flag. Like I was telling Claudia, women are often way too critical of men and think things are red flags that they're not. This is a red flag. It's up there with addictions, homelessness. It's that bad of a move.
It's that bad.
So make sure to treat your lady when you go on a date. Be the knight. Okay.
And how many dates did a man do this?
I said 1 through 17.
Yeah.
Maybe by 8 or 9 she can do something. But
she could add the tip or something.
Yeah. Or maybe she says, hey, I want to take you on something. You say, okay,
yeah, or
cool.
I want to make you a home cooked meal or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but really, it's good, especially in the courtship phase. Like, look, when you're married, it's kind of one budget, anyways, but it
Yeah.
still works when I pay for things. It just relaxes her more on my card, this kind of thing. So, and it sets a good standard for lasting love
Yes.
because the steps of courtship and chivalry set it up so you don't have the other problems other long-term partnerships have. That's what I love
Hmm.
about this work.
Yeah.
All right, we better move on. Two, going in way too fast too soon.
Hmm.
So what is the number, thumbs up there, what is the number one way that you see men go way too fast too soon?
I feel like men, they get really excited, like when they meet a woman that they like, right? It's almost like that puppy dog energy. Like they'll come in like really enthusiastic, and it's kind of like, when our dog, we see our dog like approaching a cat.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and it scares the
The
cat
cat
away.
wants to run away.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that because women are like cats, right? And men are like puppy dogs, right? And it's like if you go in with all of that intensity and all of that speed and all of that enthusiasm, it's like there's no space for her to breathe, right? So you want to go in slowly. Like I would say you want to go in, with that masculine chivalry, with that penetrative energy, but also going slowly, like attuning to her nervous system and not just like forcing yourself upon her. Like, for example, when a man approaches me in the street, or let's say when I was single, before I met my husband, when a man would just approach me in the street, I would be sort of caught off guard, or a man would just come up to me and ask me out without any sort of me signaling like invitation. I always felt so uncomfortable. I just felt like he was sort of penetrating my field without any consent or without any permission. And um, this can be very problematic because women are very, we're looking for safety. Like safety is a really important thing for us. And so if we feel that like that intensity of masculine penetration, which is it's complicated, right? Because it's something we want, but when it's done like with this intensity and with this speed, it can scare women off. Like it's a little bit, she gets that deer in headlights thing, and then she might run away, right? And then she might say something that is maybe a little bit abrasive or even rude, and then that might make you feel rejected, or it might make you feel like, oh, I don't want to be around her, right? Oh, fine, I'll go somewhere else. But like when you approach a woman like that, she's going to feel, her nervous system's automatically going to go into a state of fight flight, right? Because women are wired for safety. So just be aware of that. I think that's really helpful.
I think with the red pill manosphere thing too, there's this myth of all charge ahead all the time. And you need
Yes.
to learn grace and pacing. Like women actually appreciate it. It's more masculine to hold space more than rush things. I think of what you're saying on the street when that guy said, "Hey, beautiful" to you. It was so rude. You
Mm-hmm.
see this with like, "Hey, babe," "Hey, sexy," when you haven't even been on a date or you've been on one or two. It's too much too soon. So you got to go with the divine pacing and timing of
Or
things.
like when a man will say, we'll get this often, like a man who's very much like, he's in that claiming energy. Like after one date, he's like, I want you to be my girlfriend,
Yeah,
right? That's too much too soon.
it's a big yellow flag. We have women that happen to women all the time. She was really into the guy, into the date. This happened about 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and with one of our ladies, and he's like, "I want to be your girlfriend. I want this." It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's have date two, three, four, five, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So there's a timing and order. I don't think the red pillars teach enough about grace and timing.
No.
Number three, bringing your dirty laundry to the date. Now, I think this is something women and men are
Yeah.
equally as guilty of.
Absolutely.
But talking about exes and how the divorce went wrong, or this one ex did this, work is really hard. No one wants that kind of date.
It's just, or like kind of this victim energy.
Yeah.
I feel like that
Yeah.
sometimes.
A lot of men do that. We'll get a
Yeah.
lot of guys that think it's time to be like therapy hour on a date, and that's not why you're on a date.
Yeah, therapy hour is not very sexy.
No, no. So keep the dirty. And what do you do instead? Well, say things that are positive. Focus on the good stuff going on in your life, and maybe ask more questions to her.
Yes.
What are her interests and passions? That's how to have a great date. Is don't be just a simp about it, but really engaging in what she's passionate about and asking questions. It's a huge thing, and I don't think people do this enough. Talk about tastes on your date. Okay, number four.
Yeah, only talking about yourself and not asking her any questions. Yeah. we see this quite a bit as well with men.
Yeah.
And we actually advise women, or at least I think this can be really beneficial for women to let a man speak during a date, because she can get a lot of information. She can sort of lean back, she can receive him, she can feel him, she can really like be in her body and just really be in that space of sensing him, feeling him, receiving him, and from that space being able to discern whether this is somebody that she actually wants to go out on a second date with. So it can be useful, tremendously useful, to let a man speak. I would say for a lot, right, within the date. And there can be a point where it becomes a little bit lopsided in the sense that a man can just start speaking about himself, going on and on and on about what he's doing, what he's into, himself, right? Everybody loves to talk about themselves. And it can feel a little bit like, she can feel a little bit like invisible, or like she doesn't matter. And so when you speak about yourself, absolutely, like, I think that's a beautiful thing. And also ask her questions, like ask her questions about her, like ask her questions about her interests, about her desires, about her dreams, about her passions, and about, what she is looking for in the future. Like when you ask a woman questions about herself and you show, I feel like this is one of the things that you were really good at, actually. You were very like, you asked me lots of questions about myself and about me, and I saw that you weren't just only talking about yourself. And I feel like that was very attractive.
You have to slow it down. You have to slow it down. I think it shows a little bit of being out of control of your emotions too, if you're just racing ahead. That said, I've also been on the other side of that. So I know when you just have a monologue date and you go home and you're like, wow, do they even need me there? They talk the whole time. I never went on I've been on a few of those dates over the years before Claudia, and I never did a second date with those people. It was just exhausting, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5. We had a lot of these come out. Pushing for physical intimacy too soon. Man, people just break the timing of courtship, and men do it all the time. They can get a little greedy. Maybe it's been a while. And the amazing thing is, if you're just more patient to let it happen over time, the chemistry gets better. You're going to have better sex down the road.
Yeah.
Kisses will feel like sex. We have this in courtship, the ladies have to wait longer. They're like, why is this kiss the most passionate ever?
Yes.
And it's like, well, you let the chemistry build.
You let it build, and it's almost like you let her, women are, if you think about like women being like flowers, right? Like, even though you get to like let her like bloom and unfurl.
Yes.
And it's this beautiful, like when she feels safe, and she doesn't feel that pressure to rush ahead. It's like there's space for her and safety for her to unfurl and to bloom open. And then over time, that like she's gonna bloom into this beautiful rose.
Takes time to build up that. Yeah. So the other one is a lack of mission or direction in life. Man, you can solve this if you just sound like you have no mission or direction. It's a big turnoff. So always talk about your work in a positive way. Even if maybe you're not at the perfect job ever, talk about ways you're moving up in the world, things you're passionate and excited about. And women will just find that attractive. You need to be a man with somewhat of an upward trajectory. And we've seen a lot of guys complaining about work and stress and this. That's not what they want. They want to see a guy that's mission driven. All right, let's do the next one, honey.
We're moving through this real fast, but that's
well. We also have some coaching to do after this.
So. Oh yeah. No,
yeah. Well, we can talk about this. Maybe. Do you want to talk a little bit more about mission before we move on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's very attractive for a woman to know that a man is on his mission and he's got a vision that she can surrender to.
Yeah.
Right. And if he doesn't know where he's going in his life, it's like there again in her body there's like a feeling of lack of safety and a lack of direction and a feeling of chaos, and she won't be able to trust that man. She won't be able to surrender to him. She won't be able to like feel once again in her nervous system like, oh, he's got me, right? He's going somewhere and he's going good places and I want to go with him, right? That's a huge turn on for a woman.
Yeah, I really think after like soulmate kind of connection, or just you maybe don't have that soulmate from the first date, but like there's a connectiveness happening.
Yes.
There's a feeling going on. Interests are happening. On top of that, I think probably the most important thing is the man looks like he has his life moving forward.
Yeah.
Because she's going to just trust you more and more. And also, it's good practice for yourself because it makes you feel better about your own life and where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, the next one.
Okay, the next one. Sorry, I rushed ahead too much too soon. Making her the center of your universe. Yeah.
Oh, this is a huge faux pas. Yeah.
Yeah, like he meets you and then you're suddenly his obsession.
Yeah, I've had
Texting.
guys do this with me. I've had guys tell me they love me on the first date.
Yeah.
It's just way too much.
Wow. So what happens to your body when someone says to you, I love you on the first date?
It's like that sinking feeling. It's that like, oh, really? Okay.
Why would they do this?
I feel like it's like, again, it's a little bit of the lack of mission, and it's the lack of like, I've got good things going on in my life. And so, and I'm on this date with this woman who I find attractive, who I find fascinating, who I find somebody I want to spend more time with, right? And it's like, for a man to just be like, almost like fawning over her, like a puppy, like kind of like a puppy dog, and making her the center of his universe, it conveys to her that like, this man might not have a lot going on with his life.
Right.
If he's making me number one, if he's making me the center of his universe, like after one date, or even after 3 dates or 4 dates or 5 dates, it's like, you never did that with me. Like, I felt like you always really liked me and you made that apparent, but you were never like on your knees, like worshiping me in a way that like was really like other men had done. And it was just like, again, it's not attractive.
I also think it kills your masculine edge in your essence if you're going around being a puppy dog around her and about her. It is a concerning move for sure. And I think it might even be a sign of other issues you're going to deal with in the future. Like if he's always like this and obsessed about you so early, what's it going to be down the road? I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of this I've noticed is about they got to slow the roll. You've got to slow down the pacing of things.
Yeah, and you've got to have like your own life going on too.
Yeah.
You can't just only be all about her all the time, because then it shows a woman that you don't really have a life of your own that you're living. And if it's all going to be about her all the time, that may feel like a boost to her ego for like 5 minutes. But it's also going to feel very burdensome for her after a while.
Yeah, and this is most of the men we can help. They have a life of their own.
Yes.
They do not have to be the 6'5" finance guy, but they can't just be the broke guy working at the spiritual retreat with no money. They can't be just kind of wandering around all the time. You have to be a little bit settled, a little bit grounded, focused to really have a great dating journey into lasting love.
And so many of these things are, I think, symptomatic of deeper issues that you might have going on with your life, right? But so many of them are just like quick fixes.
Yeah.
Just don't ask to go Dutch, right? Just slow down a little bit. Like, you don't have to talk about your dirty laundry or your ex or your, the divorce that you're going through. It's like, these are really, really simple things to just not do or to do, right? And they're really quick fixes that would make a huge, huge difference. And just give you a little bit more of that game, if you will.
And it's just, we see it all the time. Like, this is what kills the dates. Yep. And what percentage of the men do this, do you think? One of these versions. These things that are so easy, like you can just prune them out. I'd say probably 50%, maybe higher.
Maybe higher, yeah.
Yeah, it's such easy game to have when you practice these things, but no one's teaching it. And we think we can just like string together love or just kind of figure it out on our own. And maybe it does require like good entrepreneurship, some type of mentorship to get there, or at least learn some game.
Yeah.
Okay, do we want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, sure.
Not planning, organizing, or leading a date.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do my best to lead them here because I know this is a faux pas, and it shows that you're creative. This is what ladies want to see. Gosh, I should do posts and I should do lives about that. They want to see you initiate.
Mm-hmm.
That's the magic word I see. Does he initiate?
Yes.
Now, sometimes women can be a little overcritical on the initiation stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh, you didn't pick the exact restaurant I wanted, or this or that. But generally, they just want to see you make the lead move. They don't want to be, who is it? Fred Astaire. They want to be Gene Kelly, the lady.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be Fred Astaire and lead the dance moves. Here, I'll even give you my dating sequence. A first date, I don't think should be an overinvestment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be like a smoothie, a coffee, a cocktail,
Mm-hmm.
some maybe not
maybe lunch.
Lunch, maybe even not cocktails because people drink and say dumb things.
Mocktail.
Mocktail, lunch, something that's not too invested but magical.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there you can go to a dinner, and there you can go to like the museum or something more cultural or classy, those kind of things. But you have to organize and plan the dates. When you give initiative, she loves it. Now,
Yes.
Here's how to have a great second date with planning. Ask, you can even do it before. Hey, great. Do you want to grab a drink somewhere? Great. Well, what do you love? Do you love smoothies, green juices? She says, what do you say? What do you love?
I love smoothies.
You love smoothies. Great. I know an awesome smoothie spot over here. Would you like to give it a try?
Yeah.
See, and now I'm taking her to the smoothie spot. So you can find her interests. You can even do that on the date. What kind of food are you into? Okay, you want to go barbecue? I know this great barbecue place. I had a place back in my 20s. It was a jazz bar in Denver. It worked very well. Like ladies like going to jazz and doing cultural things. So you can even have some spots that are kind of go-to spots where she can trust a lot of this is about her trusting your lead.
Yeah. Yes. And women don't want to have to be put in the position of having to initiate or lead. And it is like if there are ways that women we can invite, or we can be in that energy of receptivity or invitation or inspiration, right? Where we are inspiring him to lead, right? But then at a certain point, it's like if we're just inspiring and inspiring and inspiring him, and he's not actually taking any initiative of his own, then it's again, and then we're sort of forced into the leadership role, right? Which is not fun at all for anyone. So if she can trust your lead, if she can trust you to initiate, and she can trust you to plan, and she can trust you to organize things, again, it relaxes her. It relaxes her nervous system. It allows her to open. It allows her to bloom in your presence, and lets her trust you. And let's go some of that like testing energy, or that sort of like that critical or judgmental energy that she might be having.
Right. And, I think we have this idea that there's the super studs out there and everyone else. And the problem is the super studs are actually kind of not always marriageable. I'll be honest with you. I'm cautious with some.
This is the problem too. It's like a lot of the guys with the most game are the least marriageable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I literally have to help the women discern. Oh, the guy took you for the $200 dinner, and he then ghosted. Yeah, I've seen this so many. The fantasy guy.
He took you for a ride in his Maserati, and then he
Yeah.
never called
And
you
he
back.
never called you back. Sometimes they don't even push for sex or physicality. They're just getting their adrenaline off or something.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of great guys, a lot of marriageable guys like I want to do posts sometimes saying somebody's got to be the prince.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody does. And if you just do these basic things we're talking about, like everybody can find a good coffee shop they love, a nice dinner place. Yelp exists for everybody. That you can turn guys that have like a game of a 5 or a 6 or 7 or a 4, suddenly they're 9 or 10s by just doing these basic things. I don't think any of this seems like rocket science,
No.
but it is cracking a code, and it works almost universally.
And a lot of these are really quick fixes.
Yeah,
Easy.
they are. Yeah. So is there anything else you want to say around this?
Well, I just want to say that, like, just reiterate the point that, so many good men who are noble and good-hearted and would make amazing husbands, like, don't have this basic understanding of these skills, right? These courtship skills, or these what we might call chivalry or even just game, right?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because these are the men that we want to help. These are the men that we want to actually get wives, right? We want them to have their wives.
Yeah.
And yet sometimes these men don't know the way, right? There's just a few things because they just don't they just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the same with our women.
It's the same with our women.
But
yeah.
with the way to lasting love is through courtship and dating. The way
Yes.
to have an amazing, beautiful marriage and wife, and don't believe what the others tell you. When you do dating right, courtship right, chivalry right, you get like I think our marriage is like the best thing ever. And we're not doing it all the ways that old couples do, right? You have to do it in a more magical, masterful way. But the way to that is to learn these steps and do them with some sense of mastery. And that's the thing I love is, like I said, you don't have to be the biggest stud on the planet.
Yeah.
You do have to go through a bit of a conversion process. You have to learn this, and you have to learn it through practice.
I just love what you said. It can take a man who's like maybe like normally like a 5 or 6 on the attractiveness scale, and it can really raise him up to like level 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah.
Because so much of a man's attractiveness it doesn't have to do with the way he looks, although of course, that helps, I'm sure, of course. But women find just these basic things that we're talking about really, really attractive. And it's like, if you want to score points, these are some really, really easy ways to do that.
Yeah, and then they'll be in their feminine essence. They'll be adoring you. They'll be thankful. Now, there's some discernment because sometimes you might get one that doesn't go that way. Where it's finding women who appreciate and respect the masculine.
Yes.
But you get to be the hero. That's what's so cool about this. And because other people aren't learning this, if you just apply these principles, you have such a leading edge on everyone else.
Such a competitive advantage, yeah.
And then you have this other thing over time, which is certainty. Because you will just have the certainty. You know how to date. You know how to do it right. You may not be the biggest charmer in the world, but that's not always the best thing.
Yeah.
And you'll have game. A lot of good men, they need some courtly game. And it's not pickup artist stuff. It's not controlling, manipulative things. It's actually modern day chivalry.
How to find your princess, your queen, right?
Yeah, and that's the holy grail, I believe, for us men. Like you have your mission and your quests in life and this to build, but it's all about getting the girl and saving the day. So this is my mission, and Claudia too. We've helped women, hundreds of women, figure out the single code. And we know from the other side of the aisle, I believe this is what gives us an extreme advantage with you men. We know how it works on their side. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. And so we're now opening up this work. We've been opening this up to work for men over the last couple of years, and this year we've really opened the full gate. So if you are a man looking to learn how to date like a gentleman, if you're looking for your queen, to like have your princess, your beloved, even a wife, I think a wife is the most precious thing on the planet. Yeah. We have now opened up spots. I have opened up spots actually for complimentary breakthrough calls to see if we can help you and change your love life forever. If you're interested, I'll put a link below, and come join us here, and we'll have the call. If you're hearing this on our podcast, the Exalted Masculine Podcast, go to ecstaticallyeverafter.com and just book your love diagnostic call there, and we'll see if we can totally change your love life for good and get you some game.
That's right.
All right. Well, ciao for now, and we'll see you on the next one, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.